Yo, it's Matt again here, and in this video, we're going to be going through the Instagram strategy that's going to have you capturing massive attention and building connections so that you can go viral in 2026 and build your audience, just like these clients of ours have with very particular content styles that I'm about to show you, which have them racking up millions of views. And not only does this content strategy I'm about to show you allow you to capture massive attention and build your audience, it's also going to allow you to foster deep connection. And what we're covering in this video is part of the Launch and Scale battle plan. If you haven't gotten access to this yet, you can click the link below and you'll be able to get access to this entire document and all of the resources that I'm about to share. But what's super important is that, and we cover this in the document, it's not just about vanity metrics, right? Frankly, I don't care about going viral, nor do my clients. I only care about really making money. And this content strategy is one of the first steps that we implement with the clients of ours. Like, for example, Brian right here. He implemented this content strategy that had him racking up millions of views. This is just three videos that are pinned on his page, but that's millions of views right here. And that captured him a pretty significant following. And then everything downstream, right, led to these kind of numbers here for Brian. So Brian does 50K a month. You can watch the interview. It's on my YouTube channel. Okay, so coming out, understand, right, we need to capture attention. Attention is the first stage in persuasion. We can't influence somebody until we have their attention. So what we need to do is capture attention in the content, but also foster connection with this sort of stuff, right? The face to camera content where you're speaking about your story, or you're giving valuable insights, or you're giving a bit of advice based on your own hero's journey and experience. This is the type of content that fosters deep connection. Now, if you're already doing good numbers with that sort of content, that's excellent. But if you're watching this video, maybe you've got a small following and you feel you need to build your audience in order to start making big numbers, right? There's caveats to that. We have a ton of clients that actually have pretty small followings and they still do big numbers. But in this video, I'm covering the strategy that will actually help you hit 5, 10, 15, 30K followers and more rapidly. Okay, so look right here, we've got different content styles. We've got the POV approaches. These are perfect for dating coaches. If you're a dating coach, for sure, you've already seen this type of content. If you're not a dating coach, I won't cover this now because it's not relevant. What is relevant is the 6-second lifestyle B-roll. Okay, here are some examples that we've implemented with clients. If I click these two links here, these should open up. And right here, we see Ryan Walla. Okay, so Ryan has implemented this content style. And, you know, before Ryan started working with me, he had about 3,000 followers. Right? Not every reel of his does crazy numbers like that, but we can see if we scroll down, there's 2 million right there. We can see quarter of a million right there. We can keep going down and we see another 258K right there, 48K. So consistently going pretty viral, and then some mega videos, some ones that go mega viral as well and do millions of views, right? If we see 2 million there, there's, let's keep going, right? 11 million right there. So this is a content strategy that we implemented, right, with Ryan. You can see a little while ago, right, the style was very different, and now he has his own very unique way of doing this, and it works. Okay, let's have a look at another example right here. Okay, boom. Brian Marquesano, I should say. Right, 7 million views, 10 million views, 5 million views. Again, not everyone hits it out of the park like that, but consistently like 10, 20, 30K views on a piece of content. Okay, so what is it that allows this type of content to work? Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so this type of content is essentially, it's a hack, right? This is a way to hack the Instagram algorithm. Okay, so you got to understand that the algorithm doesn't know if people love or hate your content. All it knows how to read, the only thing it measures is engagement. And the primary metric for engagement is what's called view through rate. It's the percentage of people that watch your reeling to completion. And if we're talking about a reel like this from Brian, This is going to be 6 seconds long. There's a hook right here that triggers the prospect, right? When she says, we're not having sex tonight, or when she says, I bet you say that to all the guys, all the girls, right? It triggers some sort of insecurity in the prospect. Then there's this piece. Then they get pushed to read the caption. By the time they read the caption, as you've just seen, this video plays 4 or 5 or 6 times over. And again, all Instagram knows how to read is that view through rate, meaning that the view through rate on a piece of content like that is like 150 or 200%. And as a result, Instagram pushes this stuff like crazy and it gets massive, massive attention. It pushes this stuff out, as we saw, to millions of people, right? Here's an example of somebody I showed this strategy and we've helped them implement it recently. Okay, so David still got a small following, right? Because he only implemented this. Let's check, right? David first implemented this strategy on the 22nd of November. Let's see his previous reel there. He hadn't posted in a while. It was on the 27th of August. On the 22nd of November, he implemented this same content strategy. 5 signs a man has done work on himself and is showing up in the relationship. Hook could be a lot better, to be honest, but same thing. Read the caption, right? The prospect begins reading the caption and the video is playing its second time over now. Okay, they're reading. Okay, and the video is going to play 2 or 3 times over. And you can see here, that was his first attempt. We can see the next one didn't do so well. Then 71. Then we can see right there, 6,000, 27,000, 4,000, and all the way up to 400,000. Okay, for a guy who just a little while ago was getting like 1,000 views on a reel. If he keeps up this content strategy, he'll have 10K followers in no time. But what I'm about to really stress to you here is that this type of content, it's a hack. It's a way to capture attention and build your audience, but people will not buy from you unless they know who you are, your hero's journey. And this is a mistake that so many guys, especially in the dating coach space, face, right? They throw on the meta glasses and they go crazy viral. But virality doesn't get you customers. Trust. They have to know, like, and trust you. And if they've never seen your face, if they don't know your story, if they don't know your mission or your background, they're never going to buy. Okay, so top of funnel, we need a content strategy that combines dopamine hacking, right, with this sort of stuff that I just showed you. Combining dopamine hacking with value, face to camera. Okay, but further, content alone, top of funnel, isn't enough. Okay, I've covered this. I've said this like 1,000 times, that the average buyer, this is backed up by so many studies. The average buyer needs about 7 hours of time in consumption. There's been tons of studies on this. Not every study says it's 7 hours, but what needs to happen is that the prospect has a high degree of certainty in order to buy. And they're not going to have that high degree of certainty if they don't know your hero's journey, if they don't know your background, if they don't know the shit that you've been through. And it's not possible to do all of that through just short form content. It's not possible to increase the prospect's level of awareness, right? It's not possible to really educate the prospect enough and have them feeling a high degree of certainty just from that short form content. Again, if the average buyer needs 7 hours of time in consumption connected with you and your brand, right, it's going to be very difficult to do that with 60-second pieces of content. And that's why the second leg of the content strategy for 2026 is implementing the mid-funnel and doing this correctly, right? The mid-funnel, the goal of the mid-funnel is to build deep connection, right? To pre-sell the prospect, to uninstall limiting beliefs that are holding the prospect back from taking action. Okay, this is part of what I call the next level persuasion content strategy. Okay, here we have here, right? The goal of this strategy is to pre-sell prospects, to develop deep connection before we ever sell to them, to eliminate limiting beliefs, and to install facilitating beliefs, beliefs that move the prospect closer to being able to buy. And if you're just posting short form content, yes, you are reaching cold audiences and you're building your following, right? And maybe they start to like you a little bit, right? They're like, yeah, it seems like this guy knows what he's talking about, but is it really legit? Can this guy really, really help me, right? It's through long form content that you're going to develop this deep, deep connection where the prospect is like, this has clearly worked for others. This is the solution I need. I need to work with this guy. And that is created, that is done through the mid funnel, through very specific, longer form pieces of content that we implement in the mid funnel for clients of ours. Okay. So often I see guys, they've got like the limiting belief that they just need a bigger following, right? Frankly, we have clients that have pretty small followings and they're able to do big numbers, right? Like my client, Zach here, right? He doesn't have a big audience and he did 32K cash in his first 9 weeks of implementing our lead generation and sales strategies, right? If we look at Emiliano right here, has less than 2,000 followers and he does 10K weeks, right? Ollie, a mindset coach, less than 3,000 followers, does 10K months. Just 6 months after signing up to work with us and building his premium high ticket offer, he was able to buy his first ever investment property. Okay, so this guy was able to buy a home as a result of the strategies that we implement with clients of ours. So understand, look, if you've got a big following, great, right? You need to go ahead and build out the mid funnel, adopt premium high ticket mindset, right? Build red hot certainty, implement the rest of the stuff that's in the launch and scale battle plan. Okay, but if you've got a small following, understand that that's not an excuse because we've got tons of clients that have small followings and they still do big numbers. But I'm throwing you a bone right here and you can implement this very same content strategy. If you have a small audience, right, lean into capturing attention, right? And you'll build your audience, but you're going to see that followers is not enough. Like, honestly, I speak to guys every single month that have 30, 40, like even forget 10, 20, 30K followers. I speak to guys that have hundreds of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers, and they're still flat broke. So understand that, right, top of funnel isn't enough, right? But if you do have a small following, right, lean into this sort of stuff right now. Start posting this type of content, whether it's POV approaches or if it's the 6-second lifestyle B-roll. There is some other strategies, other examples here, right, that you'll be able to access in the document. I also have a full training that covers how to actually do this at a high level. It's inside the launch and scale documents, right, inside this battle plan for 2026. So if you haven't already gotten access to this document, if you want to get access to these resources and everything that I'm sharing right here, click the link below, enter your details and get access to the document, implement these strategies and start scaling your business to 30K months and beyond in 2026. All right, peace. I'll see you in the next one.